Gabrielle Chanel is born in France to a low-class family, and following the death of her mother, she is abandoned by her father and moves to an orphanage where she learns to sew as a part of her education. She continues to sew, working with menswear, and begins singing in the evenings, where she becomes known as Coco and realizes the possibility of personal reinvention. At 27, and with the encouragement of the love of her life, she opens her first boutique selling hats, which are popularized by celebrity endorsements, a marketing tactic forever used by Chanel. She became known for her rebellious style, dressing in menswear, and began to develop a more relaxed fit to her design work. Her first collection innovates the use of jersey, which was previously used for men's undergarments, and she sees great success, opening Chanel's headquarters at 31 Rue Cambon, which remains the headquarters to date. The ease of movement in her design caters to the woman developing in the 1920s, and she creates a colour palette which becomes synonymous with the brand. Her statement little black dress moves black into the everyday wardrobe, and she incorporates a palette of white, ivory, gold and red. The look is minimal, but Chanel contrasts her clean lines with bold layers of costume jewellery, becoming a theme in her design work. In 1921, Chanel launches her first fragrance, collaborating with perfumer Ernest Bew, Chanel No. 5. The fragrance represents the liberation of the 20s woman and is chosen as the fifth of the samples presented by Ernest. Chanel is inspired by her affinity to the No. 5 and describes the fragrance as a perfume like nothing else. Chanel continues growing as a company, adding skincare and cosmetics. The red lip becomes a Chanel accessory, with Chanel stating that if you are sad, if you are disappointed in love, put on lipstick and attack. Chanel's success as a designer continues to grow until in 1939 and World War II, Chanel closes its doors with the exception of its headquarters, which remained open selling perfume and accessories. In 1954, Chanel returns to design, disappointed with Dior's new look, finding it restrictive. Now aged 71, Chanel is embraced by American press, although not everyone celebrates her return. The following year, the iconic quilted handbag and gold chain is designed. In keeping with Chanel's innovative design work, the bag is designed with function in mind to free the hand of its wearer. In 1956, another of Chanel's iconic looks is introduced with the creation of the tweed suit, a look forever synonymous with the brand. Its box-cut jacket, free movement of the waist and modest skirt goes against the popular silhouette of Dior's new look at the time. The following year, the look is completed with the two-tone pumps, designed to elongate the legs and minimize the foot. Chanel's look is ever popular among celebrities and worn by women such as Elizabeth Taylor and Jane Fonda. Her popularity continued to grow until her death in 1971. Chanel passed, but as she wished, her legend lived on. In 1983, Karl Lagerfeld took over as the creative director of Chanel. His goal was to understand all components and influences of the brand in order to reinvent and revive within the core principles of its identity. Karl Lagerfeld stated that, "What I do, Coco would have hated. The label has an image, and it's up to me to update it. I do what she never did. I had to find my mark. I had to go from what it was to what it could be, should be, what it had been to something else." Having immersed himself in the world of Chanel, Karl took a know the rules to break the rules approach. It was said that he did it so well because he knew it so well. Arguably, Lagerfeld's biggest reinventive decision was in his playful restoration of the Chanel Double C logo. The logo long predated Karl's presence at Chanel and was typically seen on labels, buttons and custom silks. Karl's recreative use of the logo was perhaps necessary during the 90s, when branding with logos became a huge part of fashion design and marketing. Lagerfeld's vision of the Chanel woman was sexier, younger and more playful. He brought an accessibility to Chanel whilst retaining its luxury status. Chanel's colour palette exploded and its collections hosted a mix of its classic elements with innovative expressions. Lagerfeld's playful and creative mind can be recognised in his runway visions. Chanel shows became experiences, with runways replicating enchanting forests, the Eiffel Tower, supermarkets, waterfalls, airports. Karl's runways became theatre. Historically, Coco herself had dressed celebrities in Chanel, and its popularity among influential actresses and stars raised its status and notability. Marilyn Monroe, for example, created history for Chanel No. 5 when she stated in an interview that the fragrance was all she wore to bed, a playful claim that rippled through press. Carl took this marketing concept to a new level, tying his design work to respond to culture, creating a playful dialogue between reality and theatrics. The genius of Lagerfeld's incorporation of classic luxury and popular culture lies in his dual obsession with both historical fashion and modern reality. Through his short films, he left footprints on the moon and retold the story of Chanel that made its modern viewer a part of its history. By breathing a new life into Chanel, Carl himself became a legend of 90s fashion. His last show took place in 2019, where both attendees and models displayed tears at its ending, demonstrating his power and influence on an industry. Following the passing of Lagerfeld, his position was passed to his close colleague Virginie Viard. Viard has worked for Chanel since 1987. Vogue describes her as a quiet creative force behind a stealthy reimagining of Chanel. Lagerfeld himself described her as my right arm and my left arm. Viard is somewhat of a mysterious character, described as action versus talk. She learned to sew at 20, taught by her mother, and had access to fabric via her grandfather, who owned a textile factory. She struck a position interning for Lagerfeld, and the rest is history. Now in her 50s, Viard is the creative director for a multi-billion-dollar global brand and, as stated by Vogue, the woman behind Chanel's new chapter.